What about luxury spending, Deborah? LVMH out with numbers last night that were very good.
So not only has so it goes back to this very much kind of parallels what Melissa just said. We are seeing strength at the low end and at the high end. That middle is kind of getting squeezed if you think about an hourglass. And if you think about China opening back up, right, and you've seen, I've seen as much as 100 basis points added to global GDP for 23, which may be on the high end. But not only has luxury kind of done fairly well throughout, the past 3 years, but we believe it'll take another step up as we look ahead to 23.
Deborah makes a really good point about China reopening and how that could be a helpful element for a lot of companies that are in the luxury space and do have more of a presence there. It is a market where people care about labels. They're going to be spending more on beauty, and they're going to have a delayed kind of revenge spending dynamic that we saw play out earlier on. We're kind of through that in the U.S., but China's just starting. So that could potentially help. But it's just a question of, is that enough if the U.S. consumer is getting weaker in the months ahead?
Right, exactly. Where else can we glean sort of some signals? I mean, we've had everyone report you've had Procter & Gamble, you've had some auto companies with exposure to that sector where things are looking a little rockier. It does feel like it's very sector by sector right now.
It does. And I think that you're seeing a lot of the discount players feel a little bit more confident. I spoke also to Saks Off Fifth CEO recently, and, off-price has been a space where there is a lot of growth potential for value-conscious consumers. We saw Walmart earlier in the week say it was going to actually raise its wages. Mm-hmm. It's feeling better positioned in this environment. So, on the one hand, you see that. But I think on the other hand, you have to look at indicators like the housing market, because the housing market has so many implications. We saw people, spend a lot more on furniture. They spend a lot more on home goods. And so that's the domino effect. Really, if the housing market does start to cool,
sure,
what does that mean for all the different goods that people buy when they buy a house?
I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but Bed Bath is not finding itself. The news flow just keeps getting worse as they kind of flail around for options here.
Exactly. I mean, Bed Bath & Beyond, it had a lot of strategic problems on its own. It pushed a lot into private label that didn't quite resonate. It maybe shifted too far away from some of the national brands people loved. But now it's trying to do a comeback and really pay the bills when home goods has gotten very soft. I mean, that was a really popular pandemic category. Mm-hmm. How many more of those items do people need? So it's kind of in the toughest time to make that comeback, let alone its financial problems and its business problems that are unique to that company.
I think the water has come out of the Bed Bath & Beyond tub. Deborah Weinswig, do you have a favorite stock in retail? If so, which?
That's a tough one here. But I would agree with Melissa that, it's really kind of those at the opening price point, or at least viewed by the consumer. I think Walmart, right, a decade ago talked about themselves being a technology company. Mm-hmm. And I think what we've seen during the pandemic, right, is they put many of those pillars in place to do that. And, they've built out this marketplace. There's still a lot of wood to chop. The fact that they are, kind of moving ahead with raising wages for, it's a shocking number of, minimum wage employees that work there. I think it's like almost 350,000 people. I mean, you're talking about real changes. And I think that if you look at how we do a lot of work around consumer sentiment, what they've done during the pandemic is they've always had the value kind of position, but they have now more of the quality as well. Mm-hmm. And so you do have a different consumer who's shopping them both in store, buy online, pick up in store, and online. And as they're moving to more of this kind of loyalty and, this Walmart Plus, and a lot of what they're doing around live streaming and a lot of other technology, metaverse, et cetera, they really have pushed the envelope. And I actually want to kind of also tag on to what Melissa just talked about with Bed Bath & Beyond. Think about, right, Walmart's off mall, Bed Bath is off mall. Walmart sells everything that Bed Bath does, more branded actually. And so they could actually be a significant beneficiary of the fallout from Bed Bath.
Very interesting insight there. Deborah Weinswig, thank you very much. Melissa, always great to see you. Have a great weekend.
You too.